Well, hello everyone and welcome to this first trial edition of The Week in Print with me, Mathew Hulbert, and filmed by Citizens Eye here in Leicestershire. We're going to take you through some of the stories that have caught my eye over the past week in both the national and the local press. And we're going to start off with a story, a big story in the Leicester Mercury. Fees battle will go on, say students. Students are vowed to continue their fight against tuition fee rises, despite the House of Commons narrowly voting to approve the plans last week. Now, a declaration of interest here. I'm a Lib Dem candidate, and our party has faced a bit of a struggle over this issue as of late, with some of our MPs voting for it, some voting against, and some abstaining. I'm against the rise in tuition fees, but it does appear to me that some of the students, and I say only some of them, don't appear to quite know what they're arguing about, in as much as they seem to think, according to some of the TV and radio interviews that I've seen, that the fees have to be paid up front before you go to university, and that's not the case. It's the case that you only pay back after you've graduated and after you earn £21,000. Now, for some people, the idea of leaving university with a whole bunch of debt, even having said that, will still be too much for them. But they really should look at what the whole package has in it, and not just on what the media portrayal of the policy is. Talking about the media portrayal of the policy, we turn to the Independent from last Friday. Two-pronged rebellion fails to derail coalition. It says, after a passionate debate, the Commons approved the fees hike by 323 votes to 302, as the government's majority of 84 was cut to just 21, its lowest since the coalition was formed, and two Lib Dem MPs, Mike Crockart and Jenny Willett, and one Tory MP, Lee Scott, resigned their post as parliamentary private secretaries because they could not bring themselves to support the rise in fees. 6 Tories opposed it and others abstained. So it sounds as if students here in Leicestershire are going to plan more protests, which is of course their right. So let's just hope, however, that they are peaceful protests, not like some of those we've seen down in London. Turning to the other end of the age scale, from graduates to much younger pupils, another story from the Independent from last Wednesday. British schools slump in global league table, says the UK slightly down an international table measuring reading, maths and science standards around the world, a major report revealed yesterday. The highly respected PISA, which stands for Programme for International Student Assessment, showed Britain's have slumped to 28th place in maths, 25th in reading and 15th in science. This compares to 24th, 17th and 14th place the last time the survey was conducted 4 years ago. Education Secretary Michael Gove immediately went on the offensive to say that millions of pounds of investment under Labour have not produced value for money. And we do have the new pupil premium now, which hopefully means more help for poorer pupils to be able to go to the better state schools. Turning to my area now, Hinckley and Bosworth, in the Hinckley Times, a really, really good story as we head into Christmas. Generous folk donate toys and food to 400 borough residents. As Christmas Day creeps nearer and nearer, the time to help those less fortunate than ourselves has arrived. Hundreds of toys and gifts have been donated to this year's Christmas appeal, and they are now being readied by organisers, Community Action Hinckley and Bosworth, who do fantastic work. Along with the help of WorkLink and the Prince's Trust, the presents will then be handed over to the children and families of the borough who need them the most. And as we're all enjoying ourselves at Christmas, it is worth remembering those who perhaps aren't as fortunate. And if you can give to that appeal, I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. Now, we're all told as a baby, weren't we, when we asked our mum and dads how a baby's made, we're often told, well, the stork brings them. Well, apparently, according to the story in the Independent, there was once storks big enough to eat babies rather than to live them. It said the fossilised bones of a giant stork big enough to devour human babies, horrible story, isn't it, has been found on the Indonesian island of Flores, home of the miniature hobbit people, a bit like Lord of the Rings, who lived there more than 18,000 years ago. The giant Marabou stork grew up to 6 feet tall, weighed 35 pounds, and would have towered over the adult hobbits, who were just 3 feet tall. Although there's no evidence that it preyed on the tiny beings, scientists believe that it may well have dined on juvenile hobbits. Very glad that I live in this era and not back then. Now, we're all looking forward to Christmas Day, aren't we? Well, hopefully most of us are, and watching some of our favourite films. But apparently, according to the Daily Mail from Thursday, It's going to be a season of repeats. Viewers could be forgiven for thinking they know how every story ends when they watch films on TV this Christmas. 97% of movies on television over the festive period will be repeats. Of the 533 due to appear over the 3 days of celebrations, 517 will be reruns. So I think it'll be a Groundhog Day for us in terms of films. Just a couple more stories to go. I've got to show you the picture from the Leicester Mercury of this rather dishevelled cat, and the reason might be that it could be the oldest kitty in Britain. Long-haired Blackie will celebrate her 24th birthday in January, much to the astonishment of Quentin Shaw, who has owned her since she was just a few weeks old. The 49-year-old of Bradgate Close in Thurnby bought Blackie and her brother when they were 2 months old in March 1987. And finally, for now, we all know the situation, don't we, when you're at work and all the staff, it's your turn to make a cup of tea and it takes forever in a day. Well, it literally takes a long time. According to the Daily Mail today, if you're making tea in the office for your colleagues, here's something to tell them as you hand round the cups. The average Briton spends 24 minutes a day making hot drinks at work. That's equal to 188 days and 21 hours over a working lifetime. So there you go. I think we ought to spend more time working and less making cups of tea. Or maybe not. See you next time.